does it feel to be part of a show that is a cultural phenomenon? And I don't think I'm overstating things.
Well, initially surprising, and I don't want to get used to the surprise, really. I want to appreciate the fact that people like it so much and have taken to it, and that it's kind of helped them in a very difficult time. So I just really feel humbled by it, and I'm hugely appreciative of it.
When I spoke to Nick Mohammed about the show recently, he was talking about Central Intelligence as well. He was taken aback as well. He mentioned that almost exactly what you said, that nobody was really prepared for what was to come. I mean, you did this show and just the response has just been overwhelming. Is that accurate on your end as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, initially there was a couple of sniffy reviews, and I've been in things that I thought, this is good, isn't it? I really, yeah, we think this is good, and then reviews come out and go, oh, people don't, okay, people don't like it, and this, I hoped I'd seen it, albeit on a kind of, the whole series, it was just sent to me, not on a good quality television or anything like that. And I thought, wow, seems good. I really liked it, and does the job. But I think the heartwarming positivity just struck people when it was the period when people were, just reassessing everything, really the basics of what life and interaction and relationships are all about. And just to have this central character who is so positive and so charming has just won people over. So I could see that in the show, and I was surprised at these couple of sniffy reviews. But then when the public, started getting onto social media, I scrolled, and there were just no negative comments, just incredibly enthusiastic ones. And that's just never happened before. I've never seen that. I mean, you take any subject out there and you can doom scroll from dawn till dusk, and there will be, 30% of people who don't like whatever it is or hate it with a vengeance. But I think I don't go on social media a ton, but I haven't seen more than about 4 people go, nah, it's not for me. That's about as negative as it gets. Most people are just totally taken with it, and it's just very, very touching. It's incredible.
We'll get into the nuts and bolts, if you will, of the show, because I think you undersell your part in the success, and that's just from my perspective as a critic and someone who has seen season 1, and I did get a chance to see a little bit of season 2, and I was very thrilled with what I've seen in season 2. So congratulations on that in advance. The people are going to love it. I mean, they're going to be thrilled. So before we get into how you play a part in that, my question is, what's your most, I guess, unique fan interaction that you've had tied to the show? Because
I think that, well, I don't really know. I mean, I mean, if I was in America, we are coming to America to do some PR next week, actually. Maybe I might, it's not quite as big here. I think just more people have Apple in America, and I think it's just a bigger audience. But my friends, the commonality, I think, is seeing friends who've gone, oh, yeah, sorry, Jez, yeah, I will get to it. Yeah, I've been meaning to, I've heard it's really good. I heard it's good, yeah. And then once they've seen it, I mean, they've talk about woke. I mean, they're different people. Oh my God, I've just watched it. And when people usually recall something, they go, I saw that. It was very good. But it's really penetrated them. Do you know what I mean? It's like quasi religious experience, so I don't think I've been in a show that people have been quite converted, is the word, to the degree that this show. And I've been working for 40 years this year. I've never had that experience. So I think it's just the commonality of the fact that everybody is just so delighted by it, and just so, you know, inspired by it, really inspired. People, you know, take from it that there are better ways to be a human being, and there are better ways to interact with people. And that's just amazing.
And you thought the Downton fans were intense, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure that whether Downton fans are watching this show yet. I mean, obviously there is some crossover, but I haven't had people quite clock that I was in Downton and I'm now in this, which is great. That's not, you know, part of my job is, if I think I'm doing my job well, is to not be recognised. That's when I know I'm doing my job well. Yes, but yeah, who knows what people's reaction will be to, you know, to the second season.
I think you undersell yourself, and I'm gonna tell you why. Sudeikis is great as Ted Lasso. There's no question about it. That's not debatable. But I think what makes the show special is the ensemble, and
Yes.
your character plays a huge part of that. Hannah's character plays a huge part of that. Have you ever been part of an ensemble quite like this?
No, because the 8 sort of hardcore leads kind of thing. Not that it quite works like that with this show, but I think generally speaking, gosh, I think the way that they've cast, and I mean, you know, I didn't meet anybody apart from Theo Park, the casting director. So I don't know quite, you know, apart from performance. But you know, I am an accommodating person. I'm not a difficult person to work with. I'm not a squeaky wheel. I'm none of those things, and nobody is in the show either. And they are pretty smart. It's a pretty smart cast, and there are, you know, Nick writes. Everybody's got a strong second ability. Hannah sings very well. She's incredibly smart. Brett writes, you know, Brendan writes, Jason writes. I write music. So yeah, I'm just huge respect to everybody in the cast. You know, I just think, and you know, it's I know you have to get into scenes, but sometimes when somebody is incredibly funny within the scene, it's you know, you realize the level you're at with people, and you just have to work hard to concentrate and be in the scene. And also, you know, towards the end of this shoot of the second season, for example, Brett delivered a performance that was so full of heart and nuance that you would not expect from that character. And we have a Diamond Dogs WhatsApp group, and I just texted him, and then we kind of sent each other up. You know, Brendan said, you know, I don't remember any acting before Brett. You know, but you know, it's just such a pleasure. You know, it may sound very lovey-dovey, but it is just such a pleasure to see such high-level talent. Man, it's yeah, it's rare.
Yes, you can hear him in the background. My apologies. But you're the voice of reason on the show, as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty much. I mean, I think, I mean, there are some kind of sort of there are silly moments for Higgins, and definitely where he goes wildly wrong with a thought or an action. But yeah, and that, I think that will happen more and more as he's given credence, and he, I think in season 2 he becomes the Higgins he kind of wanted to be when he wasn't walking on eggshells, being involved in a revengeful plot that he had no intention of being involved with in the first season. So I think more often than not, he is a kind of a senior member of the team, and is stable, has been in a stable marriage with children, and knows the ground rules about how you operate in the world.
What's your favorite scene that you've shot in the first season, and maybe it's in the second season if you want to dance around it a little bit without giving it?
I loved shooting the scene where Rebecca comes to Higgins' house, and I had the bass with me, and Bill Lawrence and Brendan, I think, sat, and they sweetly didn't stay for the actual shooting, but all during the rehearsals, they were sat sort of only feet away from Hannah and I. And Bill Lawrence has a quite audacious, totally wrong, loud laugh during, and often during takes. I mean, I think on the very first days of shooting, I would hear during a take loud laughs. I thought, has nobody shouted cut? I thought, oh, it's Bill, because I wasn't used to his laugh by then. And I thought, so they didn't shout cut because it was the showrunner laughing. And you can digitalize all that kind of stuff out now, but their input into the scene was great. And it, as often with the show, what was written down becomes something different once it's being filmed, and it's finessed, and it's got some great minds working on it. So I love doing that. And it was a change up for the way Higgins and Rebecca talk to each other as well. So that was really refreshing. And it you had to think through as the character, like taking in this new person. So I really, I relish that scene, certainly.
Now we'll face the online mob, so to speak, if I can't get you to at least give a tidbit, a hint as to where this new season goes. I'm not going to even attempt it because I don't want to get in trouble. But if you could give a hint as to where your character might be headed or where the season could be headed, just something for the fans that I can give them.
Okay. Well, I think you see a more stable Higgins that has, he's been given some seniority and he's involved in some, quite weighty decisions, like bringing in which he volunteers, like bringing in a sports therapist. There, you see more of his heart. You see a little bit more of his domestic life. That's about as much as I can give away.
Yeah, that's about as far as you can go, and I wasn't even brave enough to do that.
I'm going to show you one thing which somebody did for me on the online. I have a Higgins. I have a mini me.
Oh, I collect those. Oh my God. My God. Yeah. How they, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is a cup of tea and the biscuits with the boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now if they come to you and say that they're going to do a season 3 and a season 4 or however long they want to do it, you're in, you'll stick around.
Well, I'm contracted to actually, but there is you may not know there is definitely a season 3 that was sort of I think that was sort of commissioned or mentioned last year. The jury is out whether the show will continue further than that. Simply because I think that's what Jason's story arc was. But I don't know. I think there might be an awful lot of pressure because it's the Apple TV Plus's biggest show. And I think it increased the audience size by something like 28%. And I think it's done it again. I think it did it again. It took another bump. I remember Jeff Ingle, one of the execs, telling me that during award season, I think with the Golden Globes, it took an increased audience size again. So who knows? But yes, I would definitely. I'm contracted to be, but and of course, I would love to just see more stories for Higgins and just see where the show goes.